revelations.
Before I go to the politics of this, kasi of course, both Bongo and Bato are, well, desperately trying to get reelected. And ibang usapan na if that could give them any immunity. But what about the question now that the Quadcom evidence should, at least in theory, reinforce the ICC case? And yet you have, this is your former colleague, right? The current executive secretary saying that they're not going to cooperate with ICC on this matter in terms of passing down information or evidence gathered by the Quadcom regarding the drug war and the mass atrocities.
Well, the Quadcom hearings are public, televised, and anybody can get hold uh, of the recording, and any of those congressmen present there can say this is the correct copy of the recording. I was there. This is what these people said. So it can be verified as authentic.
So ano lang yun, hanash lang nila yan in a sense. Oh, hindi kami mag-cooperate sa ICC. But well, ICC, you're more than welcome to use everything we're giving you here, diba? I mean, it could be also submitted as,
Yeah.
corroborating evidence, everything, right?
The way I look at it, there will come a time when uh, there will be an avalanche of revelations that Malacanang will be forced to say, okay, let's give this all to ICC. And remember, they want also to politically cripple the Dutertes. Uh, it's just so happened that they have the uh, testimonial evidence now. They have people now singing. So of course, if that's your objective is to politically cripple, you can submit these testimonies to ICC.
I don't know if this is an appropriate metaphor. It's like parang hinihimas yung baboy bagong katayin. Is that what's happened? I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate, baka animal rights abuse. But
Yeah,
like hinihimas mo to get it ready for the ultimate, for the
yeah.
hammer to come down. Is that the situation now, honestly?
I think the situation is that they're trying to get whatever they can get and just deliver this. I mean, at the end of the day, even if they don't deliver it, it's available to the ICC. And there's now no stopping any of those Quadco members testifying before the ICC.
Right. So obviously there's the politics of this, there's also the legal politics in a sense that it makes it talagang almost untenable for these people not to face any accountability, and legally all the evidence is out there. So in short, irrelevant yung sinasabi ng former colleague niya sa Supreme Court, right? Parang hanash lang 'yun, di ba?
Well, what he's saying is maybe what he's saying is there are many ways of skinning a cat. I mean, we don't have to officially, but my hunch is at the end of the day, they might cooperate.
So let's lay down the scenario here. This is scenario building again, yung mga nagbabash sa atin. It's not prediction, it's a scenario building. So let's say, what is the most likely situation here? Now, this Quadcom hearings will really culminate in like as you said, Justice, an avalanche of testimonies, exposés, and witnesses. And then ICC will eventually issue something, right? Whether it's red notice or blue notice via the Interpol, among other things. So ang mangyari ba dito is they're gonna um how's that? So mauna pa yung Philippine courts eventually. I mean, from Quadcom, is it eventually gonna go to courts in Philippine courts? And then sasabihin ng Marcos, no, we want our local courts to take. Parang ginagawa nila kay Kiboloy, di ba? Like, it's not that we don't want to cooperate with the FBI, but we want our courts to take a first crack first. Is that going to be a similar situation potentially, Justice?
Well, the DOJ already said that they're waiting for the final report of the Quadcom, and they will use that uh, as a basis for starting a criminal investigation. So uh, they're going in that direction. Uh, so the issue is if they're really serious with that, will the ICC back off now? But there is a principle in law that once a court acquires jurisdiction, that jurisdiction continues, and the ICC already acquired jurisdiction, and that jurisdiction will continue. That's the principle. It They will not divest themselves of the jurisdiction that they have already acquired. But they can also, out of deference, allow the Philippine authorities to continue if they believe that there is an earnest effort in the investigation.
Yun nga, this is where you can suddenly make the complementarity argument work, no, in the sense that there's no need for ICC to come in. I mean, domestic institutions are finally doing their job, you know. So, of course, I agree with you, Justice, that in if you look at the past 8 years, not much has been done. But if finally something is being done, so it makes sense for ICC to say, okay, mukhang finally ginagawa nyo ng trabaho nyo, ayoko makialam dito, but we're just here over the horizon just in case. Is that something you're implying
Well,
here?
that's a possibility. It's up to them if they now believe that there's sincere and earnest effort on the part of the Philippine government. Uh, but it depends on how the DOJ will conduct its investigation.
This is this is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be like court shopping and like, oh my god, and all of this just is gonna coincide with the midterm elections, right? I mean, it's gonna be quite a carnivalesque situation.
Yeah, this will all happen while the campaign is going on. And you can see already the effect because Bato now is going down in the ranking.
And even Bongo, right? He's not doing as well
Yes,
as. I
I
mean, there
think
was one
Bongo will
survey.
start to go down.
Yeah, so Bato is already alanganin. I think he's almost out of the, some would say. I mean, actually, ang bet namin ni Ronald Llamas, I don't know, Justice, what if you want to join the bet? Ang bet namin, sino maging mas mataas ang ranking? Si Chavez Singson or si Bongo? So, we think both will lose, pero ang tanong, sino mas mataas? I'm betting for my fellow Ilocano, Chavit, to rank higher than Bato. So, I'm just saying, I think if Chavit listens to my advice, you know, he goes down with the jet, you know, yung ano, private jet niya and you know all of this stuff. He might rank higher than Bato. But even Bongo medyo alanganin. Now, of course, this brings me to the Duterte's position in Davao. So I think nationally medyo alanganin na yung team Duterte, right? I don't know about Willie Revilla, mukhang wala pa siyang platform, mamaya na daw. I don't think Willie will even win. Wala silang competitive candidate in national politics. I think Bongo is the best they got, but Bongo does Bongo. He has his own interest. But none of the Dutertes ran also for national office. Kulelat si Baste, Pulong was not even within the conversation. And Digong eventually decided to really run for just mayor and not for national office. Is it because he feels na alanganin si Baste at he has to protect the rear? Or is it because even Digong doesn't have what it takes to run for national politics? What do you think about the decision of all the three Dutertes to stay in local, considering Sara was, you know, boasting that, hindi, tatlo yung papatakbo namin sa Senate next year, tapos magpa-president na si Baste. That's quite a climb down from that boastful days.
Well, they know that Baste could lose because he does not have it's not popular at all. So to save the kingdom, they're using the most powerful uh, uh, person that they can field, and that's the former president. No, they have two. It's either the former president or the incumbent vice president.
Sara
But
goes down, yeah.
yeah, but they cannot. Their Sarah is already in power, a heartbeat away from the presidency. So you would want to keep her there, no? And so they have to field uh, former President Duterte. And from what I hear, he's still very popular in Davao, although this could change, no, because of the Quadcom hearings. So as of now, uh, I think he's still ahead in Davao, but this could change.
This could change because they're against a Nograles clan who will likely get all the support and funding they need, right? I mean, like all the kalaban of Dutertes will now converge behind the Nograleses.
Yes, well, I understand that Carlo will get the support, full support of the Speaker of the House and the President himself. So, because this is, if they want to knock out Sarah in 2028, this is one of the means of knocking her out, no?
You go from backdoor yung attack nila, no? I mean, obviously it looks like on the paper Migs Nograles perhaps has a better chance of unseating Pulong than Carlo unseating Digong, considering what you mentioned that Digong is still a larger than life figure. But Digong is not really in the prime of his life, right? And so for
Yeah,
Carlo, perhaps it's about margins, right? If he keeps it close enough, that means yari sila later on when Digong perhaps is not in a position to run anymore
yeah,
for.
and there's a question of the health of Digong because he looks really in bad shape now.
He looks very frail. Obviously, our best wishes to
Yeah.
anyone. Kahit team kadiliman ka ba, we're not, this is just a political analysis na actually, even if Digong wins this, the long-term prospects don't seem very promising for the House of Duterte here. Now, Justice, before we go to kasi patapos na tayo sa Team Kadiliman, doon naman tayo sa kabila. But before we go there, habol lang sa Team Kadiliman. So do you see a situation whereby mag-aaway na yung Congress and Senate? Kasi they want Bongo and Bato to testify in the Quadcom. And then Bato, out of his, of course, Bato is a gentleman. Sabi niya hindi siya mag-launch ng sarili niyang hearing because it will obviously, alam natin ang mangyari. But Bongo shamelessly said, no, 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 I'm okay with it. And then Coco Pimentel is also now open to Senate hearing on the EJK issue. I was like, what's going on here in terms of legislative relations? Lower house, upper house.
Well, they can both conduct the EJK hearings, and I think it's very risky for Bato and Bongo uh, to agree to EJK hearings because you cannot control the people who will be attending, and I am sure the people like Garma will be called also, and they will all repeat what they said.
Yari sila no. But yun nga eh, do you feel that at some point they will feel compelled to testify at Quadcom? Mukhang malabo, no? It looks like
Well, they will not
kakainin,
appear in the
kakatayin
House.
sila. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was a tactical mistake for them to agree. I mean, looking at it from their point of view, because then you have the other side will have another chance to present people like Karma, and her testimony is very devastating.
My goodness. And there's more to come, no? Mas maraming mga police officials who know a lot, 'di ba, about yung mga inner workings na to. So, this could be the can of worms or Pandora's box situation, no? That the Garma could be the ultimate lock that opens the whole sa Pandora's box of what on earth was happening under Duterte. Now, let's transition Justice to kabilang team naman. Tapos na tayo sa team Kadiliman. Let's talk a little again about itong PhilHealth fund issue. Because medyo nawala na siya sa headlines sa news, no? I mean, just to be honest, kasi nga laki tong Garma expose and all of that. Are you worried, Justice, that sa sobrang daming kababalagan na na-expose kay Duterte, hindi nyo ma-expose yung kababalagan ng kabila? I mean, what's going on here? So, sorry for being so direct. I mean, I have to ask it. Yeah.
Well, we had to come out because uh, this one is a very big issue, and I'm sure the Duterte group will use this during the campaign. And they already said, in fact, Harry Roque already said, this is uh, anti-poor. What they're doing is uh, very anti-poor because this is the only chance for the poor to get health services. So this will become an election issue. It will not go away.
Wait, Harry Roque, nakita ko lang kay Topacio. Where is Harry Roque? I mean, wait lang, ano bang natin dyan? Anong,
Well, he's trying to his side, but I think they will eventually catch him. But I understand that the wife already left the country.
Singapore. 'Di ba
Uh,
Singapore yung wife, 'di ba? Oh,
yeah,
taray, taray. Um, yeah, I
but
don't know what.
but uh, Richard, the Duterte group will make this PhilHealth funds a campaign issue because this will resonate with the
Yeah,
massa.
absolutely. And also, I think Topacio the other, they columnist pala si Topacio ngayon. Ewan ka naman newspaper ang nag-hire naman yan. But Topacio had something also about the Maharlika Fund. How do you feel, Justice, about the fact that para tayo nag-criticize sa policies ni BBM na kasama natin itong mga taong to? Do you feel honored and privileged, Justice, that we have teammates from Team Davao joining us?
Well, the it happens, no, but we will have to uh, distinguish because we knew that the Duterte people will use this in the election, and but we said we just have to bring this matter to the Supreme Court and distinguish ourselves from those guys. Now, but this is a terrible mistake by the administration removing the PhilHealth funds. This will give them a black eye in the elections, and I hope they see the consequences here.
Sorry, there's a very important question I had to. Saan daw si De La Serna? A fugitive na rin ba yung supranational, yung assistant ni... Sorry,
I really don't know where he
these are
is.
important questions. I can't ignore them. So, ang dami mga tanong eh. I mean, Justice,
He
every time
always appeared in the house whenever he was
umiyak-iyak na
called.
siya, di ba? I thought baka nagka-nervous breakdown na yung bata. I wish him the best. Sana maging piloto siya at you never know.
Yeah, yeah, and the young fellow has always been respectful of the committee of the Quadcom, and he tried to answer all the questions. Uh, so I think the poor guy was is, he really doesn't deserve this, but he's there.
But Justice, do you think he deserves yung unlimited access to joint bank account nila ni Harry?
Well,
I mean, I'm just saying, you never know. Maybe
well,
it
those
balances
are
out.
the benefits, but you just have to you take the problems that accompany with the benefits.
Yeah, it comes, it comes with the perks, medyo high risk job to mga to. Kaya I was asking Ronald Llamas lahat. Ikaw, Ronald, kung meron kang conjugal account at pwede mag-withdraw anytime yung kabila, ano yung nature of relationship niyo, di ba? Tapos sabi ni Llamas, sagutin ko ba talaga, Richard? Yung tanong mo, hindi. Hindi mo sasagutin yan on the record, di ba? Just speaking of team kasamaan, I'm sorry, speaking of the other side of this equation, um, what was the latest intervention you made? Because the last time we had the conversation was about parang you're pushing for Supreme Court to hear the case earlier kasi January pa, di ba?
Well,
What do you want to happen now?
we want the Supreme Court to issue a TRO because
TRO, yeah, sorry, yeah, yeah.
they're transferring the funds, and there's a principle that you if the act is irreparable, the damage is irreparable, the court will issue a restraining order. And but although you can quantify the damage here because you're talking of 89.9 billion, but the amount is so huge that if that money is spent, you cannot recover that anymore because uh, Secretary Recto, who is supposed to return the money, even if he did not benefit from it, because his signature, his circular was the one that enabled the release. His assets will not be sufficient to, even if he turns over his entire assets, it will not reach 89.9 billion. So
Yeah, yeah.
my point is that is irreparable. So the court should issue a temporary restraining order because once the funds are disbursed, it can never be recovered anymore.
So your argument essentially is that because we're talking about so much money that could be spent by the time the hearing will start next month, dapat may TRO na may preemptive
Yes. So
intervention.
if it's just a matter of 1 million pesos, well, you can always recover that from Secretary Recto. But if it's almost 90 billion, he won't be able to pay that.
Yeah. Um, how do you read the Marcos administration on this issue? Because there are some skeptical people. I think Riza Robles, I mean, expectedly, is also paying attention to a lot of issues about Marcos. As for instance, yung recently dun sa PCGG, right? Yung for Presidential Commission for Good Governance, it looks like the Marcoses are making some moves about some of the ill-gotten wealth that was appropriated by the government. I mean, aren't this and also the Poway one, the complex, mas malaki pa sa complex yata ni Kibuloy ito eh. How worrying are those developments? Are there rear action, sleazy moves by the Marcoses on the
Well,
sides that we have to pay attention to?
well, in the case of the one in Ilocos,
The
I think
Poway, no?
Poway,
Yeah.
it's surprising that the Supreme Court was unanimous, not that it belongs to the government. So that's it. That's a big loss for them. But you can see in the other cases that the courts are now dismissing the cases for failure to prosecute. Huh? So, uh, well, is that because the Marcos is now in power? Well, the this will come to haunt us whether uh, it's because of the Marcoses are back in power. Uh, the courts have no recourse but to dismiss the cases. I mean, we will know in the future what's really the real score, and it will not be good for the courts if the historical records will show that they bent backwards. No, but there's really a big problem because these have been there for a long time. Whatever administration we had, the cases have not moved. No, so uh,
Yun nga, yun nga, I'm wondering, Justice, if we're paying enough attention to that side of the equation, no? Kasi we're all on the Garma issue. I mean, I don't know I mean, I kind of understand probably yung thinking mo on this, Justice. But ako, of course, my case is mass murder is still the biggest evil to me, right? For me,
yeah,
the killings that happen, next
I
level yan. Next level yan.
yeah, I
Corrupt.
agree with you. Yeah, I mean, killing people, that's no, no. The Because life can never be restored. No, you can never get back somebody who died already. You cannot. That's He's dead. He's gone forever. There's no compensate. You cannot. No matter what amount of money you have, you cannot return the life of that fellow. So that's the highest, of course. No, in our hierarchy of values, life has the highest value.
Yun nga, parang hierarchy of evil, if I can put it that way. Yung mass murder and drug war, I would put still it way on top. In fact, I got into hot waters because I wrote this piece about is Duterte the worst president we have had. So obviously, a lot of people said, why not Marcos Sr. or whatever, right? And I said, well, I mean, I think in first 4 years of Duterte, there was more EJK than the entire dictatorship period of Marcos, which was almost 2 decades, right? Uh,
Yes, I remember Shell Jokno, the lawyer of the uh, victims who brought the matter to the Supreme Court, quoted a resolution when I was still there in the Supreme Court uh, that resolution quoted that a report of the PNP that there were already at that time 25,000 people killed because of the drug war.
Deaths under investigation.
25,000.
Yeah. Deaths under
Yeah.
investigation. That's a technical term they use, no? I
Yeah,
mean,
when they said the killed because killed in the drug war, uh, they included everything, including those who allegedly were part of the drug syndicates were fighting each other. So it totaled to over 25,000, and that's in the resolution because that's admitted by the PNP. They made a report, an official report to the president. It was in the website, and we found it in the website. And we just quoted the website, the official report of the PNP that a total of more than 25,000 people have been killed in the war on drugs.
so Justice, I think that sets the predicate for this important part of our conversation. Um, Senator De Lima is now running for Congress. Chel Jokno is running for Congress. Not to mention a couple of great folks also running for the Senate. Kiko is trying to go back. Hindi ko natawag na Bam Aquino. Buff Aquino na. Medyo bata-bata na si Bam Aquino. Medyo nag-buff up na. So, what should be the position of the genuine opposition dito sa election na yan in terms of etong in-navigating etong dalawang nagbabanggaan dahil lahat may ano may baggage 'di ba? What should be the position here and how important it is to have the Delimas and the Chel Joknos of this world in the legislature, especially because Many are expecting some big things to happen in the next Congress, including, who knows, charter change, impeachment of Sara. What is your take on that, Justice, as a top leader in the One Sambayan coalition movement?
Well, when you run for the Senate, you look at your ranking in the surveys, and if you are way down, I mean, it will be practically impossible for you to win. So most of them went for party list in the House because you need only 300,000 votes if you are the number one nominee. And well, that's very easy to gather, no? So the problem is the national because